Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday to everyone. How's everybody doing? Kevin Chan here, as usual. And today we are gonna go into the topic of Feng Shui. And more importantly, as the title suggests, we're gonna talk about the subtle art of object placement, right? So yeah, Feng Shui world is ridden with this particular practice, which is called placing of object. So today I will try to attempt to explain to you, what is the significance, or how does the cause and effect that is basically caused by in the Feng Shui world is actually called imagery. 相学, right? So or what we call landform, right? So let me just give you a time, I'll explain a little bit what happened, and this will clearly tells you what work, what don't work, right? What work, what don't work, and a lot of things that has been overly transposed by people, right? So I can see Pepper is around today, Jocelyn, Manuel, Eve is around. How's you guys all doing? Right, so it's the first Saturday of the month of August, and we have already entered into the month of the monkey. Right, so now is the monkey month, right? So this month a bit on the nice side, because we are going into the more longer night period, right? So this is the period whereby the longer day is going to be replaced by the longer night. Right, so it's because of the tilt of the planet Earth only, nothing much more. Please. Right, please. Okay, all right, so let's come in and take a look at this. We'll have a chat about this particular side. Let me just shrink myself down to the smaller version. Right, so as usual, please come and join my Telegram if you want some chit chat, right? So, and things to download, like the other day, I just dump a file on the partial of the classical text, some classical text, and also their English equivalent explanation for you, right? So that one is from the classical text, Yuan Hai Zibing, right? So it's one of the textbook for parts study, right? So you can go and download that if you want, right? So then of course there is the Substack. Substack is a newsletter platform, right? So basically I write things, and dump it in, right? So the monthly forecast, before we do the video, the written form is actually sent out in the monthly forecast. So if you subscribe it, put it in your email, they will send it through your email so that you won't lose it, right? So some people are very lazy to go and look at the apps, and you got so many apps right now, just email to you, right? So or you can join our plushie community. Right, cute little plushie there, right? So yesterday also you can see that my slide, I've been using the ChatGPT friendly plushie making a graphics software. Just cute, right? So it's a phase, right? So join the community if you want people to support you, right? So you're on this journey of Chinese metaphysics, you're new, or you need some community, give you a hug, that's where you go. Hello Cindy, good morning to you as well. Right, so you can come and join, right? So you can get in touch with me using any of these channel, right? So now I'll see the PM, see the DM, whatever it is, right? So come, let's take a look. Now Feng Shui is actually not very difficult, right? So there is always a lot of things which in Chinese metaphysics, everything is basically put on a Trinity pedestal. So you have heard of the Trinity of Tian Ren, right? Heaven, earth, human, right? So that's one of the Trinity, right? Xing Qi Shen is another one more Trinity that's very prominent inside the world of Chinese metaphysics practitioner. So if you are practicing the Qigong side of things, which is the mountain art, by the way, right? So if you are practicing mountain art, then there's going to be a lot of Xing Qi Shen inside. Right, so even a lot of Feng Shui formula is basically a 3-point formula. 3-point formula means Qi entry point, the Qi exit point versus the facing of your property entry point. Right? It's always this 3-point one. A formula is always 3-point. Right? So you can figure out where it comes from, where it's going. Then you can figure out what is the optimal direction for the house so that it will maximize the collection of Qi, La Pei, they call. Right? So now in Feng Shui, always the form is the most important, or a lot of time they call it the imagery. So it's called Xing Qi, it's called Xing Si Pai. Xing Si Pai is the school of imagery, right? So it's basically, when we talk about forms, mean that things that you can see, things that you will not get confused of, right? So whereas feel, qi, right? So feel, qi is things that you cannot see, right? So that one is called the Li Qi Pai, right? So Li Qi Pai is where all the formulas come in. So this is basically the compass school versus the formula school, right? So you have this particular landform versus the compass, right? So the feel is where you cannot see. So the form will always affect the feel. And when the field is affected, it will transpose the information. It's the information which is that is affecting you as a person. So when we say that you are affected by Feng Shui, it is the process of transforming the form into a field and the field into the information that is basically you are saying. So if you can imagine this, right? So if you transfer this to a modern analogy, it's basically you using your handphone. You see how you're interacting with the handphone. The handphone is the information. But what are you actually interacting? Your handphone is interacting with something that you cannot see, which is called the Wi-Fi signal. It's called telco signal. But the telco signal is affected by the physical transmission tower. So which means if I remove the physical transmission tower, you will have nothing. Make sense or not? Your handphone today is working. You are able to do the doom scrolling that you do every single day, right? To receive the information. Is affecting you, or your handphone is affecting you, right? So if you open up, you see all bad news, all that day you're miserable. You see all good news that day you are happy, whatever it is, right? It is affected by the invisible Wi-Fi field, right? So the Wi-Fi field is invisible, but the Wi-Fi field is affected by the transmission tower. So it's same thing here, right? So you are talking about form. So the landform is always the most important part. So the form separated into two parts, for internal and also external form. So external form is the one that everybody knows about, the mountain and water. Basically it's just mountain and water, yeah. Right? So the more specific way of taking a look at it, Feng Shui is about contour. Right? So it's about contour. Should be Xing is punishing. Oh yeah, right. So you're right. Peggy, you're right. Sorry, it's Hanyu Pinyin, you put in there, you click the Hanyu Pinyin, you type in XIN. Gee, this show up, you're right. So Peggy, you're right, no worry, I'll give you a change. Right, so the external form is basically highland, lowland. So it's the contour. Right, so the entire art of Feng Shui is under physiognomy. So physiognomy arts, is basically xiang shui. Physiognomy art is about contour. So when you look at person, face reading, it's actually reading contour. High point, nose versus low point, valley. Right, so Feng Shui is reading the face of the earth. Right, so that's basically what Feng Shui does. So that's external. So internal form is basically what is inside, the corner of the house, your roof pillar, and all those are called internal forms. So all of this is under the form side. So form is very important because why? That is the one that decides your field. Right, it is the form that decides your field. So when we talk about the field, is generally all the formulas, right? So the part whereby you cannot see, the part that you can't see, right? So like Wi-Fi, you can't see it, right? So even up until today, if without your handphone, without you looking at your handphone, if I put you at one corner of the house and then ask you, okay, so tell me the Wi-Fi signal is 3 bar or 2 bar, strong or weak, there's no way for you to tell me. The only thing that you have is your phone indicator, and the bar that they show you generally also is fake one, by the way. Right, generally it's fake one, right? So you are just looking at the phone, as the indicator of it only. You actually does not know how the feel is. So it's the same thing. So there's no way for you to feel the feel. There's no way for you to smell the feel. There's no way for you to see the feel. So what we do is that we created formula, which is the tangible part. Same thing as your phone display for displaying the Wi-Fi bar. Right, so it's the same thing, right? So the formula usually is either a sectorial formula or directional formula, right? So like for example, the right? 8 mention is a sectorial formula. So the entire sector is named as Fu Wei. The entire sector is basically named as your Sheng Qi area, right? So you're trying to use the area as a sector. Right, so and then there is this Xuan Kong Flying Star. Xuan Kong Flying Star is also a sectorial formula, right? So sectorial formula. So then you got your 悬空大卦. Now 悬空大卦 is not a sectorial formula because 悬空大卦 only got a 3-degree window. It's impossible for you to use a 3-degree sectorial. So that one is a directional formula. Other formula, like for example, arranging the dragon pylon quid, right? So pylon quid is a directional formula, right? So it's basically trying to find which direction is the best direction to do. Pure yin, pure yang, right? So sun yam, sun yang, right? Which is another Feng Shui formula. That one is again a directional formula to decide which direction to take. It's not a sectorial formula. So it goes on to that too. And then lastly, the combination of these two would give you information, whether this place is, of course, the watered down version is whether this place is auspicious or not auspicious. To me, is that the energy form, does it support your activity or doesn't support your activity? So if it doesn't support activity, it's not really that good. So of course, the information, the partial of it can be a mental influence or can be a direct physical influence. So it depends, right? So now these three factors are all important. So today we will basically be looking at the external factors. So again, right, the main thing is that the form is something that you can see, and a lot of time you don't argue with it. So as in, water, right? So if you bring 100 fella there and tell them that this is a pond, very rarely they will have a big fight with you. But formula usually have a lot of fight. As in, I don't agree with you. What if I apply this formula? The most classical one is, but my 8-mention say is a Sheng Qi direction, but then my flying star say is 5 yellow. So how? Sheng Qi cannot have 5 yellow one. You cannot have 5 yellow Sheng Qi one. Right, so between different formula, they got different interpretation of the field. Right, so same thing also. A 3-bar in this country and a 3-bar in that country maybe is different. Right, so every country got Wi-Fi, but then because you are on a different telco, the price of the Wi-Fi changes. Right, so how you're gonna argue? So depend on how you do it. Right, so today we're gonna talk about the external form, and more specifically is a little small branch of the external form, which is placing of objects and items. Right, so now you see when you place an object and an item, it actually changes the form. Any object and item that you put to the place, it actually changes the form. It makes sense, right? So it adds to the place, right? So at least one of the biggest thing that you do when you put an object and item there, it take up space that is supposed to be occupied by qi. So that's why a lot of time when you are doing Feng Shui, right, the first thing that we always tell you is to please declutter your place first. The more thing you have in that particular space means that the smaller is the qi capacity in the place. So you want a place whereby you have good qi capacity, right? So the biggest qi capacity, as we said, is the external form is called Ming Tang. Ming Tang or Bright Hall. Bright Hall is basically just empty space. That's it. But calling it an empty space is not cool. So we came out with the marketing terminology which is called Bright Hall. Ming Tang, right? So it sounds really very nice, but it's just a empty space that is used to collect or let qi converge, right? Let qi sits around, right? So that qi can has a place to relax and sit around. So when it's relaxed and sit around, the quality for you to use it is better, right? So you can see that those are form. Right now, like empty space, right? When you go there, you ask somebody, oh, this place, is empty, anybody would be able to form a good judgment whether the place is empty or not empty, right? So that's why form is very powerful, right? So it's something that is very obvious, and form is usually the part of it that you can really take action or act upon. Whereas, when you talk about the field, again, there's a lot of argument, whether, even if that direction, you see that direction, so the, what you call the direct indirect spirit line, right? So there's always this direct indirect spirit. Direct indirect basically is talking about directional energy, which is intense directional energy, which is, a fleeting energy point. So fleeting energy point, you want to push the energy back up, so you use water, which is a yang component, whereas the direction where the energy is directly coming to you, you want to use mountain, which is a yin component. So it causes a balance in the energy. So only if energy is in a relaxed balanced state that it is usable. Too high we call sa qi, right? Too low we call si qi. Right? So both also you cannot use. You need to be in a certain vibrancy. All right. So so same thing. So let's take a look at one of the small thing of it, right? So when we talk about forms, right? So again, mountain is the one that you are very familiar with, external one. If I point to a mountain and tell you there's a mountain, I think not many people would want to argue. But of course, if you are Chinese, later I will have a separate session, that talk about different classification of mountain. Chinese got different classification of mountain. They got specific name for the mountain size, right? So although in English it's usually all called mountain. Then of course there's water, right? So again, if I point on to the water and tell you that this is a water, I don't think a lot of people would want to have a big argument over. No, that is not a water. That is a moving H2O. I don't think you want to do that, right? So it's obvious, right? So it's obvious. So of course, the next thing, can it be artificially done? Yes, no, yes, lah, right? So then internal, you have all this, stuff that's inside the house, the corner lah, the roof pillar point, So a lot of time you also see, right? Do not sit under the roof pillar. Because why? The form will actually press the qi. It will causes the qi to press down. So if you're sitting under it, you will always have that constant pressure. Although you cannot see the qi, right? So when the qi is flowing with the overhead beam on top of you, right, it will actually press whatever qi on top coming down to you. So you will feel the pressure. So the information that you get from this situation is a obscene amount of pressure. So when you have obscene amount of pressure, your performance drop, it's not good for your health and stuff like that. Same thing also if you are, right smack in front of a wall corner, right? So the corner side of the wall, right? So again, qi come, right? It will directly hit you, man. Right? Can see it also increase the amount of pressure. So this time the directional pressure is not up to down, so which is not a pressing pressure. It is a facing pressure. So it's a facing pressure mean that you feel threatened. Okay, right? So the up and down one, basically feel there is a lot of responsibility on your shoulder, right? So you carry responsibility. The one that facing one, is basically, that fear, trauma of being attacked, right? So, like good sector to put the altar. Yeah, so Alvin, you put the altar. Now, put the altar, please first of all, so consult your version branch first. So again, right now this one also the same. Guan Yin got Guan Yin's rule. Guan Yin like different stuff. The four-headed Buddha, right? So yes, right? The usually the same in fact the Thailand Buddha, right? So they got their understanding. Tou Te Gong got Tou Te Gong. Guan Gong got Guan Gong. Please go and look for them and ask for their rules and regulations first. Generally speaking, Feng Shui do not care about all these deities. Right, so Feng Shui is always natural form. It's not all the deities thingy, but I will talk a little bit about that. Right, so then there is the natural elemental. Right, natural elemental would change the energy signature of the place. Every single. So Feng Shui runs on 5 elements as well, right? So we all study everything. The basic is basically the 5 elements. So every single energy signature, there is always a 5-element component. So if you put similar element or you put countering element, it will augment the energy signature. So the what we call the suppression of energy land. Like every year you want to suppress the 5 yellow. We will ask you to put metal, right? Because why 5 yellow is of earth characteristic. Earth produce metal, so you put more metal into the earth area, the earth energy subside, right? Because it is wasting its energy producing the metal, right? So the metal is a weakening factor for the earth, right? So you can see, right? So if let's say 3J is wood energy, so wood energy we use fire to drain it, right? So that particular sector, if there is any fire elemental there, right? So fire elemental. Now you see, now when we said that you transmute it too much, right? So fire elemental, we are really talking about fire elemental, and the active ingredient behind it is actually infrared, right? So which is what the sun actually emits, the infrared energy. So the energy that basically does the excitement. So if you put a red carpet there, does the red carpet has a infrared energy? Nah, right? So, some people, it's like, they just want to please people, right? Oh, no, this particular sector got a 3 jade. What you need to do is that, you need to go and buy one of those red color sticker paper, and then stick it onto the wall. Nah, not gonna work. Right? You need fire elements, right? You need fire element, you need at least something that is warm. It emits warmth. Right, so which means when you go there, there's this feeling of warm, right? You can actually use those sunbathing light bulb. So you go to those spa, right? So there's a chamber that you sit in to get the tan one. This sunbathing light bulb also can work, right? But your red color carpet, your red color thingy that you stick onto the wall, that definitely doesn't work. So that is called transmuting too far away, right? So and then special mention is to me it's just figurine. Right, so now figurine, the classification is a bit different. Later I will explain to you the classification of figurine itself. So which means that putting a figurine there generally doesn't really do anything unless the figurine has some specific criteria which the figurine has already obtained, right? So I've spoken to you guys before, right? The classification of being, right? So there is this Ling Qi in this particular world that everything basically can collect Ling Qi. So when they collect enough Ling Qi, they ascend into a different thing. Figurine does that, right? Figurine have this uncanny ability of collecting Qi, right? So your temple deity, right? So this is a temple deity, right? So if it's put in a correct place, the meridian place, it will collect the Qi one, right? It will collect the Qi, right? So a collected Qi basically is very neutral. Then certain things happen around, right? So later I will explain a bit on the lengthy side so that right? So now we are right now talking about specifically stuff that you put inside your house. What are the stuff that you can safely put, and what are the stuff that if you put there, it will causes the change in the field? Because why? The information is going to change. Right? So it's not the go and buy something, come and hang here and then prosperous all the way. Right, it's not okay, but these are all called forms, right? So these are all called forms. So it's called Sing, right? So it's the imagery department, right? Imagery department, quite powerful, right? So quite powerful. Now let's take a look at some of these. Now one thing I'm going to tell you, right? So any sharp and menacing object, try to remove them. They're usually not very good. Weapon, especially weapons. Right, especially weapons, right? So a real figurative weapons, right? So not a picture of the weapon. Picture of the weapon usually doesn't really invoke the same amount of thing. It's actual weapon. And some people like to collect weapon, man. Right? So anything that's basically sharp, menacing, So and also figurine of unknown origin only, right? So now the entire idea on figurine. Now when we talk about figurine, it's not only human figurine. Right, so between that, not only the those that look like human, any sort of figurine at all, right? Any sort of figurine, any sort of what I usually call old object, they collect energy. You put them long enough there, they collect energy. It's just basically very simple. They are a receptacle. They are like a pot, right? So they are like a pot, they basically collect and suck energy and keep energy inside. So as how physics work, right? So energy would balance itself. Energy will balance. So which means that if you're in a place whereby, let's say that that particular figurine, I really don't really care whether it is a Buddhist figurine or whatever it is, you are put in a place whereby the entire place has just gone through years and years of war. So which means this particular figurine is exposed to, things like death, so it's exposed to things like despair, right? So all these are energy. They are called field, right? They are called field and energy. The feeling of death, the feeling of despair, hatred, right? So all of these are basically field. So now when you have a figurine that has nothing, which is a neutral state, with everything outside there is hate, death, despair, right? So it will balance itself, right? So the hate, death, despair's energy field will start to feel all inside. Go inside of this figurine. Make sense, right? So it's just physics only. It's like osmosis, right? So a highly concentrated water versus a neutral water. So when you put inside, the water will go in and make both of them same pH level, right? You guys know, right? So keep hiding things considering exposing energy. So now what happened when you take this figurine and now you bring it to your house, which is generally what we call neutral, right? So now first that I got a neutral figurine that is in a very intense field environment. So the intense field energy will go into the neutral figurine. So this neutral figurine right now is a receptacle, it's like a pot. It collects, right? It collects, then you take this filler back to your house. So what happened? So right now the concentration of energy inside the figurine is definitely much more higher than your house. So your house is much more serene under normal circumstances, unless you tell me that the depth, display, and angle in your house is much higher than this figurine, then this figurine cannot do anything. AKA your house is more evil than the figurine. So now I'm telling you, right? So the figurine right now has collected all this despair energy. So what will happen? It will start to release all this despair energy out to the environment. So same thing with the your deities figurine, right? So you see how people build a temple, it's usually built on a meridian spot. Usually, all right. So now again, this one maybe one day I'll give you a topic on actual temple versus commercial temple. And in China, there are replica temple. For us in Malaysia, there's only actual temple and commercial temple. There's only two types, right? So then there is in China, there's something called replica temple. Okay, right? So later we have that particular and talk about it, right? So never mind, right? So like the figurine, the Buddha statue, right? So the Buddha statue you put inside a meridian spot, it collects. And most of the time, you go temple there, right? So it's basically compassionate energy. Yeah, most of the time, okay, most of the time it's gonna be compassionate energy, right? So so the figurine is gonna be charged with all this compassionate, strong meridian energy. So when you take this figurine and you go somewhere else and put it in your house, so the compassionate meridian energy will be released to your house. It makes sense, can see, right? So you can see. So I'm just telling you, if you have any object in your house, object mean any trinket, right? So figurine is more potent. I just put in a figurine is more potent, right? So object, any trinket inside that has a history. Better be careful. So that's what a lot of time, we tells you, if you got all these things and then you don't know what the hell it is, right? Don't bring it over, right? So I've been to a house, Feng Shui, that particular house, the house is full of ancient relic. And the owner was like super proud of, his endeavor of being able to purchase this thing, So a lot of them are authentic. So which means that, really, to him is he really buy it from the temple, but how does the people who sell it to him obtain the thing? That was a complete don't want to find out about, right? So the house was full of this type of stuff, and I can tell you the energy there is bad. Right? So that's why figurine are missing their nose and arm. They were punished by the emperor who stole them by them. Right, so does the material of the figurine matter? Stone, metal, styrofoam, plastic. John, a little bit I would just say that is the contribution is basically little. Now in what we call in the understanding of material, the more dense the material, the more energy it can hold. So which means the more dense the material, the more dangerous it is. If it's a bad energy, it's very dangerous. It becomes very sticky, right? The energy lasts very long, right? So the more what we call hollow the thing, the faster the energy collect, but also faster the energy will be released. So which means that it will lose its potency faster. All right, so you can go by that stuff, really, right? So yeah, old statue, all this kind of stuff, right? So just be careful. So if your house got weapon, now you see, the job of the weapon is what? It's basically now weapon basically only got like one energy signature, which is to kill. Especially if that weapon have actually been used for killing. Butcher knife lah. Yeah, butcher knife, every single thing, you know, for killing. Butcher knife. Right, butcher knife, kitchen knife is very different. Kitchen knife, usually you deal with things that is already dead. Things that is already dead does not have the intense hatred feeling. But when your weapon is used to slaughter a live animal, the live animal also can create fear. Right, that fear, the hatred. Okay, right, the fear, the hatred. So, and you have a weapon there, you know, that Ling Ling Chat butcher knife. Right, the Chinese butcher knife they use for everything, you know. So you know, so so in what way that we can dispose? Just dispose of them, No, really, just remove them to another place. That's it. All right. Easy as that. Remove them to another place. Right, find some place and throw it. Make it somebody else's problem lah. So we want to get rid of the figurine. Can we just throw them away? It's fine. Right, so just remove them. It's basically fine. One way to do so, also I think you guys have seen it, you know, if you go into a temple, you will see a corner with a lot of figurine there. So those are a lot of time, you know, the family initially pray to this particular, then certain family member decide to convert into a different religion. So this thing, they are sent to the temple to be neutralized. So temple is a place that can neutralize energy. The original purpose of a temple is to neutralize energy. It is not to make you rich, okay? Right, so please don't go to temple and, you know, make me rich, you know. Temple don't do that. Temple only function is to neutralize energy. So that's why temple, a lot of time, the properly made temple are all very dodgy. Dodgy mean not exciting. So a lot of people, oh, but this particular temple, how come it's not rich? If the temple become rich, something is wrong. So bring your figurine and, you know, leave it in the temple. Leave it in the temple for it to be neutralized. The meridian chi will just neutralize it. So again, right, your energy is of this quality of chi. If outside doesn't have this quality, it will release. So if outside got this quality of chi, inside don't have, it will absorb. So it will go to a normal point, which is a neutralization point of being neutralized. Okay, right, so you know, yes, a Thai building temple have an area lot for unwanted figurine. Yeah, correct, you know. So figurine can also be used to invite. So again, right, this one, the topic also, you know, one day I will tell you all to invite lost soul, you know, called lost soul, to basically put into the figurine, right? So yeah, you know, they give them a house. The figurine can house lost soul. So when you put there, right, so when you go and put the joystick, you are actually donating merit point to the fella who is lost, so that the fella has enough merit point to move on. They are stuck in a plane because they don't have enough merit point. No money to buy ticket. Okay, no money to buy ticket. So we, as a person who can generate merit point, human can generate merit point. So that's why human is in a very special position in this game, right? So later, you know, I will give you a bit on it, right? So yeah, you know, so when you put this, you know, it helps them, you know, collect, and temple collect merit point as well. So when you go temple, you actually donate merit point to the temple. It's basically a place whereby, you know, you say, hey, I know I got a certain amount of merit point right now, I come over here, you know, I will donate this amount for you, so you guys use it to, you know, help whoever that come. Right, so that's basically the terracotta army stonified by Qing still hold energy. I haven't been there before. Okay, I haven't been there before, cannot confirm with you whatever it is. So again, you need to take a look at, you know, what is the actual situation first. Right, so the actual situation of the place. So again, if the entire place is very, generally speaking, negative energy, so the hatred, the fear, a killing intent, you know, all these are very intense negative energy right now. It will all go into all these objects. Right, so when you bring the object back, it will release. So, right, don't get too scary. So that's why, you know, I say that, you know, please be careful with object and figurine. So if let's say that you go to a statue manufacturing company, right? So you go there, you know, then there's like 100 of these statues have just been manufactured, and then you bring it back, right? That statue is empty one, right? It doesn't do anything. by all means, do so. Right? No anything at all. Right? Nothing. Buy it. Right? So if let's say that the sword that you brought back is basically it has never been used before. Right? It's just basically a display sword, never been used before, then it's fine. Okay, right? So but anyway, sharp object, a lot of times even looking at it, it's create like Kelly's Castle near Ipoh. Okay lah, Kelly's Castle right now nothing lah. Kelly's Castle right now nothing lah, because there's been so many people going in there that it has does a lot of the neutralization already. A lot of neutralization has already been done. When you have massive people going into the place, it neutralizes the place one. Right? But at the expense of the person going in, whether the fella can take it or not. You carry part of the energy away. You put energy in, you carry part of the energy away. So now the question is the particular person able to neutralize the energy that he carry away? So if the fella is already a very negative fella, if you go to a negative energy zone, you become even more negative. But if you are a high positive person, you go to a negative energy zone, then it's much better, right? So that's why they don't open his grave, right? Because he is protected by the army. Well, we'll wake up and protect him. Accordingly, they haven't even found the grave yet. All right, so that's Shin Hang Ti's grave, right? So now let's take a look. Now, let's take a look. I give you some example. So if your house, certain place got this sort of object, I just give you some example. You just take a look at it. Freaking, you open your door, you have a taxidermy bear. You open your house door, suddenly corner got a taxidermy bear there. What sort of energy do you see, And bear, right? So what sort of life does a bear have? Murder, right? So bear have this sort of energy, their signature, right? So I'm talking about taxidermy, not a Labubu bear. Although both are bear, so you have a Paddington bear there, same size, exact size Paddington bear, 5 foot, 8 foot, you're rich enough to buy one of those. It's very expensive, by the way, but anyway, it's completely a different case. I'm really talking about taxidermy bear. Taxidermy bear, taxidermy, what we call deer, right? So the deer head there, right? They hunted the deer head, then they make the deer head into a figurine one, right? So what do you think is the energy of the deer when you hunted it? All the fear, hatreds, definitely got fear, got hatreds, right? So it's all imbued into the deer, right? So you put it inside your house. What sort of energy field it is, right? So you got some weird figurine despair painting in that particular corner. So now we are talking about the energy, right? So tell me the energy of the painter when the painter paint this sort of painting, actual painting. A printed one probably does not have the same impact. Now, if you just went to the printer and print one, I don't think it have the impact. But by you printing this sort of stuff, right, you probably would have imbued some of your negative energy into it, or else you won't go and find this thing and print. Talking about really painter, Dorian Gray, right? You guys know the vampire story, Dorian Gray, right? So the fella basically has a pact with the devil and placed his youth into the picture, right? The picture will grow old, he will not grow old. Right? Yeah, it can do that. Object can basically do that, right? So I just now told you sharp object, especially sharp object that's actually been used for the intended usage, as in, it's really, you go to the war field and go. Now, sometimes, when you visit certain country, the country is very famous for war, you buy certain object from them that represent the war, right? So you need to know whether it is, even, I'm talking about even mirrors. Now, mirrors is, here's the thing, mirror reflect you. You just imagine, again, just somebody just asked me, right? So, in front of my door, right? I want to open the door there, there's a wall, right? So I want to put a big mirror into the wall. Now, first thing I tell you is that you just imagine one day you come home tired after a few glass of wine, you open the door, you see that there's a figurine inside your house, which is your reflection, by the way. Can your mind process it? right? You're already in the deep sea situation. You open the door, first thing you see somebody in the house. Damn. Right? Can you see that all these things create a rather negative field set around the area? It releases negative field. Right? All this releases negative field. Right? So try your best not to have this in your house, no matter which corner you put it, because you're gonna go to that particular corner, you're gonna freaking see this thing, and then it's gonna create the information. Yeah, despair photo. Tell me you got a despair display, you know. So even display of, you know, whatever it is that's in the displays in a very disparative state. Right? So tell me, every time you take a look at it, you feel inspired. I feel so good, you know, because of this despair photo, right? So I'm not despair this person, you know, I feel great. Somebody does do that. They go to country, you know, I don't know whether this is fortunate or unfortunate. They go to country whereby it is very unfortunate one, so that they themselves feel fortunate. I don't know whether it's right or wrong. And also I do sometimes advise, you know, some of the parents that come to me say that, oh, you know, kids very difficult to deal with, you know. Bring them to orphanage, bring them to old folk home. Let them see, right? Let them see the kids in the orphanage. What are they, you know, subjected to? And then, you know, ask themselves, you know, the quality of life that you have today compared to the, you know, kids. I know it's a bit sad to do that, but it works because of the field, right? You put somebody in a field that, you know, is all like that, you know, the fella field change. Right, so from a place whereby is generally, you know, despair, unhappy, into a place back your home, right? So your home warmth suddenly becomes significant. This is like kicking somebody out into the open snow. Like, you know, the fella said that, oh, this house is, you know, not comfortable. Whack the fella, throw the fella out into the snow, you know, give him a good half hour, 1 hour time in the snow, then bring him back in. Everything in the house right now is warm, right? So same thing, right? So, you know, if your house got all this, you know, killing lah, display lah, you know, all this kind of stuff, right? So it changes the feel inside the house. Your feel inside the house change, so it give you different information, causes you to have problem. Remove them, right? So now even the easiest thing, you know, so if let's say that, you know, seems like, you know, throwing it is a bit of waste, cover it, that's it. The fastest solution for you is basically just to cover it. You know, get a box, cover the fella up, put the fella in jail. Put the fella in jail. You know, the weapon, right? Buy a box and cover the box. So it's like sword, right? You silk the sword. You know, the sword cover. Yeah, you know, buy one and then, you know, you just cover the sword. You know, not to have the what we call the sharp thingy exposed. Right, makes sense. Very easy solution for you if you still want to keep it, right? So does learning Qigong make one sensitive to surrounding energy? Yes, Cindy, learning Qigong does make you more you are more attuned to the energy. Don't use the word sensitive. So all this falls under the third pillar. Oh no, these are all called forms. John, these are all called forms. These are things that, you know, you won't get confused. As in, you know, despair photos painting. 10 fella who come and look at it will know this is a despair painting. Cannot be you come and look at it, hey, this look like the newest episode of Solo Leveling. Is this Jinwoo Shadow Army? Right, you won't have that confusion, right? So, you know, it's a taxidermy bear, it's a bear, right? So, no, you know it's a bear. I'm just telling you the bear, which is a physical form, is gonna cause the field inside your house, wherever the area the fella is, and the field inside the house will eventually affect you. The information will affect you, right? So you do not want your information to be muddled by this particular field of energy. You remove the taxidermy. The source is the taxidermy. The source is the battle axe. All right, the source is your mirror. Right, the mirror, the source is actually you. Just tell you first, the mirror is basically something that magnifies and reflects. So which means that, you know, if you always come home is happy, you open the door, you see happy, then it's fine. I'm just gonna tell you that, you know, a lot of time, you know, when you open up, when you come back from house, outside when you come back, right, your energy definitely is not at the peak. After talking to your stupid colleague, your incompetent boss, your not very high expectation clients, plus your wife calling you 6-7 times in a day, complaining about things that she can take care of on her own. You open the house door, tell me you're happy or not. First thing you see is your own shit self. Unless you tell me every time you go home, the first thing is before you go home is, yeah, I'm gonna show myself happy because I know that there's a freaking mirror behind the door. I'm gonna show myself happy face. Okay, open up. All right, so most spiritual place we usually find some sort of lion statue in front of the entry. How would that relate to energy? Henry, can't explain to you lah. I need to go and take a look. So we were talking about those stone tiger. Stone tiger, the function of stone is to stabilize. Is elemental and energy itself. Stabilize stone, big stone is to stabilize. But a lot of the current stone lion that you see, basically is cement outside, is empty inside. You knock on it, you go kong 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 kong. It's not a stone. It needs to be an entire stone that is carved into a lion. So the working portion, is that, frankly speaking, don't care if you carve it into a labubu, but it's an entire stone, right? One stone carving, right? So it's like one marble carving, right? But nowadays, very difficult, right? The one holding ball in the mouth and the one holding ball under the palm. Yeah, right? So it's the stone. Right, it's the stone that's basically working. So which means that if you just take a big boulder and dump it there, it would have the same effect. Earth basically causes energy to be stable. Earth stabilize energy. Okay, right. So that's what you do. Makes sense to you, right? So no stone, right? You want to carve it into a lion, you want to carve it into a dragon, you want to carve it into a labubu. Up to you. Right, it doesn't matter at all, right? So it does not really have, right? So of course, again, lion probably have. By the way, the one that usually is in front is not exactly a lion. It's usually a lion dragon mix. Dragon has very bad reputation in the Chinese mythology. Right? So it's in the Chinese mythology world, dragon actually is notorious for having a lot of hybrid children. Dragonfish, dragon turtle. Right, so these are things that please if you got, please go and remove it. Right, so now old stuff. Right, so special mention, which is the one that you guys are old stuff. Right, so it's just the origin of the stuff, so again, the other one, he has door from the temple as wall decoration. Yep, you get an old door, right? So you got old door. A lot of this, they want this rustic style, right? So rustic style, right? So they got all the old stuff, right? So now, yeah, the old stuff, basically just old stuff is fine. Right, so now a lot of the old stuff that you do now is not actually very old. It's just like maybe 20 years ago, right? So nowadays, if you go to the restaurant, you will see a lot of restaurants like to decorate the old school decoration, what they call it, retro decoration. They'll buy old radio, and some have Walkman there. Walkman is not old, Walkman is probably maybe 20 years only. Right, put it, it's fine. Those doesn't really collect a lot of energy itself. But if let's say that it was a object that is in a serial murder case, I don't think you want that object. But please don't. Right? Serial murder case, the place has a lot of murder happening. All the object there will take their part in collecting all the death energy, all the death field, right? It will collect. So when you go to a place whereby the field is generally neutral, it will release all this energy until it reaches a point of neutrality. right? So old coins, right? So that's why a lot of time they like to use very old coins, very old coins, especially emperor's coin, right? Emperor's coin, right? So yeah, right? So it works, right? So yes, your favorite Buddha head, right? So again, if you have a Buddha head, it's something that was just recently manufactured. Right? So there are places that manufacture the Buddha head. The Buddha head have to come from somewhere, right? Manufacture, is fine, right? The one that I'm very scared of is, it is stolen from one of those ancient temples. And because I tell you, a temple is always the place where all the fighting happen. You have seen enough movie, you have seen enough historical thingy, right? So temple is where all the fight, all the killing, all the whatever bloody hell bad thing, right? Temple. And all the war seems to be, revolve around temple. So fight. Right? So tell me, that statue that has been in the particular temple is very ancient one, ancient temple, 500-year-old history. How many civilizations has the statue seen death? Right, so and then you lob off the fella head some more. You buy it, put it in your house. All those negative energy will release into your house, right? Until your house become negative, right? Right. Oh, okay. People create old bronze coin for Feng Shui. Can no point, very small, but it's again, it does hold the energy. Right, it does hold the energy. So that's why a lot of time you can see that people give you blessing coin that has been blessed, right? So you go through the blessing ritual, you're actually transferring energy, right? So my blessing ritual, right? So it charged the entire place with a certain amount of energy, then it get transferred into the coin, right? So the coin right now hold like a battery. It holds the rituals energy it gives to you, right? So as time goes by, the coins basically will discharge, right? So the coin have a smaller, the object is small, then you have a smaller what we call effect field, right? So again, right, I tell you not to take this is because you don't know what the hell happened. That's the only reason. So if you're very sure what the hell happened, as in you witness the ritual, it's new coin, right? That's just manufactured by the coin factory, right? So you bought that particular coin, you go to a ritual, right? So you see the fella do the ritual, and you first of all, and you understand the ritual first. You understand the ritual, then then you take back the coin, is fine. I got no problem with that. Right? But you just pick up a coin from the street and you don't know what does the coin, so just extreme example for you. There is a coin that is in the crossroad, right? Devil crossroad, right? There's a coin there, right? So now in the side of it, right? So a coin there, it has been there for a very long time, and this crossroad is famous for fatal accident. Right? What sort of energy do you think this coin has been collecting? Fatal accident energy, for the past maybe 15 years, the coin has been there, right? And why did you find this particular coin? Somehow your energy at that point in time was low enough. You have to be low enough, right? If your energy is high, right, this sort of stuff usually cannot get to you. Right, so again, energy transfer is high to low one. It's always high to low. Right, so you guys study physics before, always high to low. High pressure go to low pressure. So that's why wind, or that's why the cloud will always travel to high land. High land, low pressure. High land, low pressure. They will basically go up. Right, low land, high pressure. Understand, right? So the coin. Right, so it collected all this negative energy, energy of Wong say sudden death energy, right? So you walk by and that day your energy f-king low, right? Because you just got scolded by your boss, and then when you walk out, the neighbor's poodle, right? Decide to piss on your leg. Oh, bad day. Right, bad day. Okay, right? So then you walk by, then suddenly you see the coin. Then you go and pick it up, put it in your coat pocket. Habis lah, that coin will keep on pumping the negative energy to you, and then you will go like, you know, Make sense, right? So it's about what energy has this particular, so what field is this particular object, the form is creating around you. If you are unsure, don't have it. So what you do, take the coin, throw it away, right? The coin won't come and, you know, chase after you. Please, this is not Chucky. Right? Like this sort of door, you know, you feel like it's not good, you know, just bring it away, right? So bring it away because it's a form, right? So it's a form. So the fastest way to avoid a form is actually remove yourself. That's the fastest way. Okay? Yeah. Right? Fastest way to remove yourself from energy field is to actually to exit the energy field. Not too difficult, right? Right? Pick up black heart rock from Hawaii. Got sat at the airport for hours. Right. So what else you have, right? Dating himself with Walkman reference. Yeah, Walkman is during my time, like Walkman, Discman, right? So what is that? Sony, right? And Sony, right? Basically the Walkman, right? So the Walkman, the Discman. Yeah, last time you were able to own a Walkman, right? I've seen Walkman, Discman, even the 8-bit digital tape. This one definitely you guys have never seen it before. Right? So it's a technology that never went flying. Right? So your your iPod. I'm the generation that's seen all of this. Right? The one holding ball in the mouth. Okay, right. So that's basically it, right? So I've collected old bronze coin, right? So can right? This sort of stuff, please, right? So basically menacing figurine that, you know, and also old stuff that you do not know where the hell this thing come from. Just remove them, right? Just remove them, right? So like some what we call family harem, right? Family harem, like, oh, this one was passed down, you know, from one generation to another generation, and if you don't understand what the hell is being passed down, I advise you don't take lah. Okay, right? So it's much more difficult to fix a problem, you know, than to just totally avoid it. Okay, can do right? So it is true shown in movie where an employee is being scolded by their head, so his employee cursed a coin and threw it at the plant inside the room for their head will bring bad luck to them. Not so powerful. I don't think an employee can to transfer or imbue energy need to be very intense. So again, right, the difference in the energy need to be really large for you to be able to press it in, but usually time can do that. So that's why I said that a thing that is exposed to a very negative, right? So like for this particular example, Thai amulet, don't care, Brian, don't care whether it's Thai amulet or whatever it is the same, right? It's basically just energy transfer. Right, so you are talking about an amulet that has been, you know, blessed, right? So again, this one, there are some places which basically are just commercial blessing, which means no use one. Because you want to buy as much as possible, it's up to you. Right? So there are some which is really the temple, the place is on meridian, so it's really very potent, and the intention of the person who I call program that put in the information is very important. If the fellow intention is no good, then keep on charging no good intention. This is like raising a child, right? Raising a child, two family raising a child, one family, you know, keep on so this one is the difference between a rich family versus a poor family raising a child. No, the child is basically a neutral canvas. The fellow doesn't hell know anything. A rich family, you know, give the child a very different education, you know, right? Whereas a poor family give a child very different education, right? So when they grow up, that time, you know, it's different child. So same thing with your amulets, right? So it's different. So to me is that if you don't understand what the hell happening, just don't take it, right? So don't invite problem into your life whereby your life got no problem. Right? So for me is that I seldom pick anything up at all. No. Don't do that, right? So no, if I pick up any coin, the next thing you see me know is I'll be using the coin to pay for something else. Right, so some say place the unknown old objects under the full moon or rain to cleanse the full moon. Cleanse. Normal is to put it under yang qi. Midday sun, right? Midday sun, right? So put it under midday sun, yang qi. Right, put it under yang qi. Put it under yin qi to do it. Very little, unless you already know that the object require yin qi. Right, some crystal probably will benefit from yin qi. So again, I don't go and study this thing, at least not right now, no, because it's not really very useful. Okay, right? So lost found, money spent, does it carry bad energy? No lah. Right. So again, all this kind of stuff very easy for you to get rid of it. Is actually just to throw it away. But when you have an actual legal tender that can be used, 20-cent coin, 30-cent coin, 5-cent coin, just use it. You know, go to the place and then, you know, just go and buy something. Right? So to me, very easy, just remove it. Right? Remove it, right? You remove the object cannot affect the field. The field is basically okay already. The field still needs some time to be okay. Right? The field still needs some time to be okay. Right? So that's why flow of qi is very important. Flow of qi ensure that your qi don't get stagnant. Bad qi do not get stagnant, good qi also don't get stagnant. Right, small thing in Feng Shui, this one definitely you can do one. This one is you can do thing, right? So this one basically answer you that small little question, does putting things around affect Feng Shui or not? It does. It does affect Feng Shui, right? So especially, you know, when the object that you put there is basically despairing, dangerous, killing. Definitely affect the field, confirm. Okay, right? So try not to do it. And the one that is a bit of a pet peeve is object of unknown origin. Really, you don't know what the hell it is. Send it someplace else, right? So some people got asked, I know this place, I know ever since moving, I know it's like feeling not good. I ask, what are the old furniture? Ship it all out, that's it, done. Okay, yeah. Right, ever since moving in, got this one you move in that time, got any furniture or not? Got, ship all. 全部丢完它 settle. Easy, right? Because you don't know what all this furniture thingy has been collecting. Right, so the very funny is that, you know, the other day, just, you know, there's this legendary sofa. Legendary sofa, you know, it's like those psychologist sofa, right? So people that's unhappy like to sit on the sofa. Right? People who have, you know, gone through some episode of heartbreak, right? Gone through some episode of, you know, losing their job, they like to sit on that sofa. Right? Just tell me lah, right? So if a normal person did came and sit on the sofa, you know, has a rest, and then, you know, the first saying that very disturbing sleep. So I was saying that which one, that sofa I sleep on it, of course lah, right? So throughout the year, right, this sofa has been set by all the unhappy people. So tell me what energy does this sofa has? Unhappy energy lah. Explain very well, right? So, you know, I've seen it, you know, the sofa is unhappy, very unhappy sofa. Right? Every single person who go to the house, sit on the sofa, then, you know, start becoming a psychology session. So it's exactly the psychology chair, right? So the one that, you know, you guys seen sit around, you know, tell me about your childhood, tell me about it. Right? So therapist chair. Right? So yeah, that therapist chair. Right? Tell you the energy. I don't sit on the chair. I avoid the chair like plague. Right? So, you know, those are small salient points. You know, same thing. And if the household, often the people go inside the house, one are all very angry one. The house will hold angry energy, and, you know, you happen to be in the 5 yellow corner, that will 5 yellow will further intensify the angry energy. Right? So that's how energy works. Cool. That's it, guys. You know, today that's the sharing, right? So go back and do an audit, you know, on your house, you know, if there's any weird stuff, especially old stuff, right? So I tell you, minimum, please put it in a box. Just put it in a box. So, you know, if you like, oh, I cannot throw it away, this is my grandmother. Lock it in a box. Lock it in a box at least. Right? Don't need to be a copper box, you know. It's not kryptonite. Kryptonite, you need to put it into a copper box so that it doesn't affect Superman. All right, that's it. See you guys. Bye.